Wakanda forever! Am I even allowed to say that? As you saw, my stand is a Black Panther, and putting Black Panther into anything automatically makes it better. Just look at all the MCU movies. And for Gladiator Beast, they got their own version of Black Panther. They got Test Panther. Close enough, it's a Black Panther. Now, okay, for Gladiator Beast, okay, fun little mini story time for you guys. Gladiator Beast was the one deck that got me to play competitively. That's right, I had to lose against this deck so many times to the point that I'm like, screw it, I am picking up Teledad. You guys thought I was picking up Gladiator Beast? Nah, man, I picked up Teledad because it was the more degenerate deck of them all and I had the money to spend. Why am I so fond of Gladiator Beast? It's my best friend's first competitive archetype. On his birthday, I decided to acquire the Gladiator Beast core so that he could play competitively with me, and so it was kind of like a Joey Yugi moment, a yugioh moment. Okay, I need to give shoutouts to people in this video because they helped me complete this deck. First of all, David Hergen and Black Tower Games and Coordinate. You know, thank you for mailing in the card. Really appreciate it, and really wish I could do more for you. So yeah, check out Black Tower Games if you're in Coordinate. And Calvin Sue and Michael Angelo. Wait, is that an actual name? Michael Angelo, like Michael Angelo right here. So anyway, shout outs to Michael Angelo and Calvin Sue as well. You guys know which cards you guys sent me, so it's between us. So in terms of a competitive angle, why did I look at Gladiator Beast going second rather than going first? Well, I looked at the combo. The combo is like pretty decent. It still ends with a decent board. You have your Damatianas negating basically the entire battle phase because you control the battle. You have a monster effect negation. You might go into Appaloosa. You might go into Heraclinos. Maybe you have just everything on board, but the board is not invincible. It's breakable. Once you break, you lose everything. And the only way I see it is that the board is strong, but under a simplified game state, that's the only way you can actually guarantee the win, because then your opponent cannot go into the battle phase, they can't activate spells and traps, they can't use monster effects, and you got all the coverage from there. But only under a simplified game state would that actually matter as much. So I decided to go second, break their board, and thanks to Test Panther only requiring one Glad Beast and one other monster, it made it possible. And I actually really enjoy this deck right now because it kind of covers most boards that get established. You know what? Enough of me talking. Let's just jump into it and I'll explain the cards as I go. Starting off, we have double Atorix. I kind of want to put one into like a second bestiary, but double Atorix because you want to see these cards in your hand. Well, you want to see one copy in your hand when you go into your combo. So having it already in your hand makes it so that you can add comeback or add whatever that you're missing from your Test Panther. And also mills a card and copies the level. Can also mill cards from your extra deck to kind of set that up as well. So yeah, that's why she's there. But I find myself going into bestiary a bit more when I'm trying to break the board and it gets stopped, but I didn't use my normal summon. I want to set a bestiary while I have a Glad Beast and go into Gazaris, and Gazaris plus a comeback plus, well, a monster in the graveyard completely annihilates the board, and you can just break the board from there. So that's something I'll show you guys afterwards. Then we have triple Andal. You should play the Andal. The Andal is very useful. 2 Andals means you have Link Spider and the Andal, so you have combo again. You have Test Panther, but you need one more card to follow up. So that's the only part that is harder, but overall it's not too bad. You can cycle these cards back into the deck because Test Panther shuffles them back in, Test Tiger can shuffle them back in, and then your Rescue Rabbits will be live again. And then we have the utility cards. We have Bestiary, we have Equest for fetching stuff back from the graveyard, mainly comeback to be honest. We have Darius as well, and we have Vespasius. Okay, this one's kind of more unique, but Bestiary, you can find yourself setting Bestiary or summoning Bestiary just so that you can go to Gazaris. And Gazaris, as your opening play, going to battle, you can simplify the game state very quickly and then just make your play. If you manage to somehow do that, you'll usually get Xera's pop 4 cards in that one turn. It's pretty devastating. And then we have Equest. Equest is just to add back your comeback mainly, so it's kind of like acting as a second copy of Darius almost. But keep in mind of typing, because now you have both Winged Beast and Beast Warrior. And for typing coverage, you're going to want something that's a bit different. So Vespasius is your Sea Serpent coverage for that angle. And that's why you do it. And also Vespasius, I find myself doing this sometimes, or I'm just summoning out a monster and then I'm just going into Vespasius during the battle phase, of course, because when you attack during the damage step, you can special summon this out. It's summoned by Glad Beast, so everything gains 500 attack, so you can just run over your opponent's monster. It mattered for one of my games where I set up a Gazaris while my opponent had Cyber Dragon Infinity, didn't use the pop effect. I decided to attack into the Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then I chained Vespasius, and he was forced to negate it, and then his Infinity died anyway. I tagged back. Since I have my Vespasius in the graveyard, my my Darius actually summons it back out, and my quest gets back the comeback, and yeah, just kind of snowball from there. And that's actually the combo that I'm going to be showcasing to you guys later on. So yeah, this is my utility, and I really enjoy the typing coverage for rejection as well. Moving on, we have Double Augustus. It's also a Winged Beast. The only thing bad about it, it's dark. It summons monsters in defense mode, guys. Stop summoning them in attack mode. It doesn't work that way. And you summon a Torix, since it's by Glad Beast effect, they will proc. That's what you're there for. And level 8 matters because I run 1 rank 8. Then we have Killmonger. That's right, we have Killmonger right here. Test Tigers. I don't know if I want to run these guys. They make a good hand better, and they make a bad hand worse, because they are free summons as long as you control a Glad Beast monster. But if no Glad Beast monsters, these are basically just bricks. And they're only really good when you have rejection on the field, where basically you get a free summon with a free effect, and you get the monster tag out for free. But in most cases, if you have a Glad Beast plus this card, you're not even going to use the effect. You're going to Test Panther instead. And we have Rescue Rabbits before your double Andal. Okay, yeah. Pretty good when it goes off. It's worth the risk, I suppose. And I guess that's most of the summonable monsters. In terms of non-summonable, I guess more tech now, we have hand traps. We have Ash Blossom Joy Spring. It's just part of the format now. It's very staple. I run triple Nibiru so that combo decks fear you after game 1. If you break their board, Nibiru summons out, giving you your first monster anyway. So you just need to open Nibiru and a Glad Beast, and you have a combo. Wow, that was really easy. And of course, the board's getting completely smashed. If your opponent Nibiru's you have Link Spider in your extra deck, you can link it off, and then if Andal, you just do your combo anyway. But your combo would have probably already been executed. And another really useful card for going second, of course, is Tenyi Spirit for Shootout. This is your compulse to bounce any card. It's useful because it's a free summon on your own turn, and you can just go ahead and link it off into Test Panther, or you can turn into a monk and then bounce a card. Then you can just normal summon a card and then go into your Test Panther. Overall, this is like an amazing card. I don't know why I didn't run it earlier. But of course, there's the weakness of Super Poly as well. Now we're into our spells. We have triple Engage, because Engage is really good. You get to search out your mecha pieces. We have Widow Anchor, so that you can turn off negation-based monsters. You bait them out. You have 1 Hornet Drones, so that we can add back the Engage to search Ego Booster, so that Test Panther can not be negated. That's why it's there. That's why if you open Engage, it's just one of the better feelings. And with 3 targets, one of your last engages will be able to give you a draw 1. Then we have Gladiator Rejection. Summons from the deck. It's basically one body extender without actually being a body, and also protects you from being targeted during everything except for the battle phase, which is whatever. And has to be a different type than what monster you control. So if you summon something from this, it's going to be a bit more limited. Same with Comeback. I've talked about this in a ruling video. Make sure that if you're using Comeback, you're not summoning into the same type, which is why typing coverage is something that you have to be very aware of. Then one more extender for the graveyard. We have Reborn. Oh, before I jump too far, Comeback. I've survived a Boral Sword because of a Comeback, because I summoned a monster in defense position, and they thought I was like, oh, whatever, just hit into it. And don't jokingly hit into a Glad Beast monster because they can tag. Someone did that. It was so funny. I was like, oh, do you want to just hit it for fun? And he actually hit it for fun. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna tag this into a quest add back, Comeback, and he's like, oh my god, I give you a free plus. That's right, you don't randomly hit GB monsters. And let's just finish this list off with double Mind Control, because I can break your board, and I also have Instant Fusion. Similarly, I can eat up your monster and then use the body of Restrict and a GB to do my combo. So yeah, that's why these guys are here. And that's the main deck. Let's go into the extra deck. Start off with the extra deck. We have Damatiana as one of your biggest beat sticks, effect negator and battle phase controller. Your opponent selects their monster that they want to attack with. You choose where it goes. If you have a defense mode monster that they can't break, and if they want to crash their monster just to manipulate graveyard, well, now it's hitting the defense mode guy. If they want to deal damage to your Test Panther that's stuck on the field, now it's hitting your Damatiana. So you know what? Either way, you win in the battle phase for the most part. Then we have 1 copy of Gazaris. Want to run more, but on each special summon you get the pop card. So it pops cards summoned from editor, pops cards when summoned from the graveyard, pops cards when you summon it properly. So overall, one of the best cards in the deck, and it tags out for 2 monsters, not 1, which can give you a +2 if you get Darius and in a quest. Then we have the actual deadliest monster of the entire deck. We have Tamer Editor. This card, I don't know, maybe it needs to get reworded, but if it goes off, you die, because not hard once per turn. Summons out monsters from the extra deck, ignoring summoning condition, and therefore it can summon out Gazeris, it can summon out Domitianus, it can summon out Heraclinos. It summons out basically everyone, and if it summons out Gazeris, you got a free +2. It's just literally 2 monsters that you're getting back, and you're popping 2 cards. So technically, you're getting a +4. It's pretty dumb. And yeah, Editor is also a level 8. The only bad part about this card, well, actually there is no real bad part about this card. You just can't tag, you can't fuse with this card. So in other words, this card cannot be super polyed, cannot be used as a fusion material. All right. Then we have 1 Gladiator Beast Heraclinos, Peasant Rare. I'm sorry guys, I don't have a better rarity. Yeah. Then we have Thousand Eyes Restrict, just for instant fusion, just to eat up a monster. And we have a Black Panther, 2 copies of T'Challa or T'Challa, adds a Gladiator Beast card to the deck, and if you have a Gladiator Beast monster, shuffle it back into the deck to get your effect. And you get to summon another Glad Beast monster with a different name, and you get their effect as if they were summoned by GB. And also has 2 arrows. The 2 arrows are perfect for Editor. It was like born to work with Editor. Now for some of the more interesting techs, we have, of course, Link Spider, we have Gagari, we have Decode Talker, we have Nightmare Unicorn. The Decode Talker I personally enjoy because it can dish out about 3,300 damage and protect you from targeting. And if you don't have Appaloosa, then you can use Decode Talker. This is your budget option. I decided to kind of budget it a little bit because Appaloosa right now is in my other deck that really needs it. This deck does not really need Appaloosa. You can just use Decode Talker. It's very similar. Now you have, I guess you have targeting coverage to protect some of your cards. Although if you have Gladiator Rejection, it won't matter as much. We also have Nightmare Unicorn, and that's only if you really need the Unicorn. But the Unicorn offers you a down arrow, so if you want to link off your Tamer with your Test Panther, your Black Panther, then you can get your Nightmare Unicorn, and then you can revive your card just to summon it back out into the arrow, another boss monster. So you can revive the Editor to do so. And finally, the last 2 cards, we have, of course, Monk of the Tenyi, and we have a ghost rare version of Dingirzu. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell, ding it, so Dingirzu doesn't send you to the Shadow Realm. And no, it's not it's just the lighting. Wow, this actually kind of makes it look ghost. Ghost rare. This is ghost rare Orca's Evening Star. Okay, cool. Anyways. Kajib can be basically split into 3 piles in terms of the deck usage. As for going second, you have the board breakers. Because people are able to build such big boards, you need a huge chunk of cards dedicated to that. Luckily, you just need to open multiple copies here, and because you have such a big arsenal of it, it's fine. As for the play openers, technically it's only this section right here. It's pretty tiny. It's fine because you only really need 1 copy from stuff in here for you to get going. A Torex is kind of in a unique position where it can be both the body or the extender because it can change level, and it's also level 4. That's why this is kind of the unique card, the little flex card. Everything here would be the extender. So you can open in terms of how you would play. You would want multiple copies from either of the side piles, but you really only want 1 copy from the center pile. And if you open like that, you can basically combo regardless of what happens. If you have a Shootout in your hand, you have a Mind Control, you have, I don't know, like instant fusion. That's 3 ways to break a board. And then you open with 1 quest, and you need 1 extender at this point. So 1 of the extenders is mandatory. So this is a mandatory, at least 1. You can even have rejection. Rejection will get you there because when you do the Panther play, the rejection will offer you the second body. And the second body, why that is important is because you want to either go into a Vespasius or in a Torex, not the Augustus, because if you go into the Augustus, this can't change level, and if you go into this one, you can change the level, and then you can drop the Augustus into the graveyard or the Vespasius. So it just gives you the typing coverage that you may need. That's why that works. That's why it's at least 1 copy here, 1 copy or less from here, and then more copies from here. So that's how you kind of build your hand. Okay, we're just gonna do a random hand test right now because what's the point of testing if it's a good hand? So starting off with, we have a Torex, which is really decent because it could be either or. We have Monster Reborn. I guess now it is kind of a starter. Okay, we got another starter. Oh my god, that's a lot of starters. Oh, instant fusion, cool. And okay, so we don't have Nibiru, so going second, we got our 6th card. Oh, an Ash Blossom. Yay, 6 card Ash. Everyone's favorite answer, I guess. Okay, starting with this play, we're gonna start with the instant fusion. Instant fusion, we're assuming this is not a Kagari. We're just gonna go ahead and summon out a Thousand Eyes Restrict. Thousand Eyes Restrict effect, go ahead and eat up the monster. That's cool. And now we're gonna summon out a monster. The monster we're gonna choose to summon is going to be the Quest. A Quest is better in the deck, so they can summon it off of a Gladiator Beast monster anyway. So we go ahead and summon out a Quest, and we're going to go ahead and link them off into our Test Panther. Test Panther effect, add the copy of... Where are you? There it is, Comeback. With Comeback, we have double revive. In fact, we have triple extender right here. Well, technically 2, because this is pretty good. Starting off with our Gladiator Beast Comeback, we're going to revive the Quest. Putting this into the graveyard. Test Panther effect, shuffle this back in. We're going to go into Augustus. Augustus's effect, we're going to summon out a Torix. Torix's effect, we're going to dump Vespasius, or we can go ahead and dump Augustus again, making it a level 8. We're going to go ahead and contact fuse the 2. And with the contact fuse, we summon out the editor. Now, depending if that zone is opened up, go ahead and just put it right here. Editor effect. Now we go ahead and summon out our big boss. Now, if we're trying to break a board, we're trying to attack, then I recommend going to Gazeris. Just pop cards right now. Just pop them off right now. It doesn't really hurt. Then go ahead, just take the Test Panther, link them off. Go into Decode Talker. Right here, it doesn't really matter. If this zone's locked out, you can still do it this way, which is fine. User Monster Reborn, and go ahead revive the editor. Editor effect, summon out Domitianus. You don't have to bring out the Domitianus right away. Sorry, at the end. You can do it right away in the beginning, so that you're not popping cards. But if you wanted to be safer before you bring this one out, then yeah, do it this way. But usually if you get to the editor, you can just go into the Domitianus first and then do the Gazeris, because at this point, your opponent should be dead. If they don't die, you should swing with everything you've got. This one tags back into 2. You get your Quest back, right? You get Darius a Quest. There you are. This one's back into the deck. So these 2. Effect of Darius. Darius can summon basically anything. A Quest is now going to add back the comeback. You're replenishing basically everything. If you want to go into Appaloosa, you can go ahead and go into an Appaloosa. But you have everything available to you right now. So this is a recovery play for GB, which is why I want to run multiple copies of Best DRE, just because it's coming from a normal summon almost. So say you bait out a couple of cards first. You would trade these cards away, and just they activated whatever. They use Widow Anchor. Whatever the case may be, you reduce the game state so that it's semi-open to the point that all you need to do is be able to extend. So starting off with the comeback, you activate comeback, you revive the Andal. It doesn't really matter what you revive because it's tagging into a Gazeris. You can go ahead and set the Best DRE. Reveal for the contact fuse. This is a summon that does not start a chain, so it can be solemned. And we're going to start into summoning out Gazeris. If you feel like it is safe to pop, then pop. If it's not safe to pop, then don't pop. But if you think like whatever, you just pop off anyway. Just do the popping effect. Okay, you pop off, pop 2 cards. So that's 2 cards dead. Attack whatever that's in defense mode so that you guarantee your survival. And so you hit another card. Maybe you hit 3. So this is potentially 3 cards that you hit. And then this one will tag back into the deck. And it's a double tag. So we're going to double tag into a Quest and Darius. Darius effect is going to summon out the monster in the graveyard, whatever that's remaining. And a Quest is going to add a comeback back to hand. Now look, you went from 2 cards back to 4, and you're going to go even further because they're all going to convert into much bigger monsters. Darius and the Vespasius, both of these will now be sent to the graveyard because you're summoning out Test Panther, so those are the link materials. And with the Test Panther, does it matter which zone you summon it into? Well, if you summon it into the left zone, you don't have to care about how you control which monster goes where. But if you summon it into the right zone because you're limited, then you probably want to just be a bit more careful in these areas where you're actually getting rid of your monster in this zone. So you want to put editor over here usually. In most cases. So, okay, we still have a quest on the field and we have comeback already. Test Panther's effect is going to activate. We're going to add ourselves another copy of comeback, or you can add a Torix. Depending on what you add, you just cycle it so that you guarantee 2 monsters that will be level 8 or higher. So I'm just going to go, oh, there's comeback. So I'm going to get the comeback. So if I got comeback, I have 2 comebacks, then I can use a Torix. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the effect of Test Panther, shuffle back into the quest. Summon out the Torix effect, summon out, or rather mill out Augustus, putting myself into a level 8, activate comeback with Beast Warrior Beast. Winged Beast is not part of that, so now we have an Augustus. Okay, so this goes to grave. I'm gonna go ahead and double 5 contact fuse. Double 5 contact fuse goes into Tamer, and with Tamer, we're gonna go ahead and activate the effect of Tamer. We're going to summon out Domitianus, and we're kind of basically at where we are already, except that we already have a copy of comeback, which means we have the extension, and we're going to go ahead and just link these 2 off. If you want to pop cards, that's also a possibility. If you want to pop cards right now, go ahead and just, instead of going into this, you go into a potential 2-card pop again. We have Gazaris. We'll pop 2 more. So from the 3, now you have 5. Link these 2 off. And now we have a decode. Decode Talker. Now, if you have a better 3 that you want to run, by all means, just run the other 3, because this is a dark. This is a dark. It means you're opening yourself up to super poly, and you want to minimize that. And this card cannot be super polyed, so there's that. Luckily, because it cannot be super polyed, and you're activating comeback to revive it, you can summon it right here. Activate Editor's effect, summon out Domitianus. These cards can get super polyed, but luckily you won't die, so that even if your board empties out, you can still summon another card back onto the field. Okay, so there's that. So you can actually end on a board that's kind of like this, and that's coming from Indestructible monster. You get to retarget it there. You have a monster that can tag into 2 monsters. You have decode. This is rather strong, I would say, coming from 2 cards mid-game, so that's how you can do your recovery. Now, to change it up a little, if you want your board to be a bit more protected from battle, although this card is already really good to protect yourself from battle, but you want to send one problematic card in the graveyard away, then what I consider you to do is, rather than going to the Domitianus here, you would go into it the previous part, and then instead of summoning out Gazaris to say that monster is like a Thunder Dragon or whatever, and you're kind of stuck with it, go ahead and summon out the Heraclinos. Now you have 2 8s. Go ahead and just link these 2 together. Go into a Dingirzu, send the card to the graveyard. This Ghost Red Dingirzu will send it to the graveyard, no problem. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you guys didn't enjoy it, you can hit the thumbs down button, but that's just gonna damage the life points of my list on the side. And if you guys want to stay up to date with MST.TV, hit the subscribe button, ding the notification bell. Speaking of upcoming stuff, I have a box of Chaos Impact. This was sent in by Konami. I'm very excited because my box personally bought wasn't as good. Maybe this is a redemption chance, especially with the prices and, well, recent YCSs. I'm really excited to kind of re-crack this one, and maybe we'll see what happens. And on top of that, I also have a live duel between Gladiator Beast, this very deck, well, a different variant of the deck, versus Marine Cess. Which of the 2 archetypes from Chaos Impact are the strongest ones? Well, we'll see in that live duel. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.